and the Zulus pushed back. The Boers want to find a separate republic on the other side of the Vel River or the Orange River that they want to call Transvaal. They want to get away from British taxes and British rule. So they're trying to move inland. Dingang stops them twice, destroys their wagons and their horses. The third time they were about to be defeated, at the edge of that river, the British realized that if any whites are defeated, they may be next. Though the British hated the guts of the Zulus, the British came to their defense. They would meet Dingang at that river. The battle was so fierce and so many butchered bodies flowed down that river. The Africans call it the Blood River. The Battle of Blood River was one of the decisive battles for the African to hold on to southern Africa. Finally, the battle was lost. Dingang was driven into exile. 1838, he dies in 1840. Now coming to power, a Zulu of the British choosing. You have to understand something about Zulu character. They never produce half men. Their men are whole men. Their puppets are puppets all the way. The Zulu puppet Mpande would rule the Zulus for 32 years, rule or misrule. The Zulu war machine has fallen apart. Mpande is fat and sloppy. He does not marry the women assigned from the family designated to train women to marry into the king's household. He marries into the common women because he can discard them easily. He's a fat, beer-drinking, liquor-lapping slob. He is overweight, couldn't get out of the way of nothing. He is so naive, and the British wrote out his death warrant. And because he believed so much in the British, he signed it. So all right now, approaching 1870, he is becoming unpopular with the Zulus. He has produced a strong son who is now a favorite among the Zulus. The son is Ketchewayo. In 2 years, so much support is rallied around Ketchewayo that he dethrones his father and becomes king of the Zulus. Ketchewayo began to punish Zulus for being fat and sloppy, starts the Zulu war machine again, sets out to train the Zulu army again, sets out to avenge the reducing of his father to the status of a puppet. He is planning now the war against the British. It took him 4 years to get it all together. More than 4 years. He did not fight the battle until 1879. He knew the missionaries helped reduce his father to puppetry. So he's going to attack a missionary station, Roki's Drop. Now coming back into Zulu land, the Borlong warriors, these related Zulus who had previously fought with Clarke. Now the new leader is coming. Mambosa is old now. Well, I can't say he's old because he's near the age I am now, so I don't think I'm old. So the moderately young Mambosa, 74 years old, looking like a man of 30, comes back to offer help. But the condition is that you give his son a command assignment. His son gets the job of leading the troops in the attack on Rockets Drive, the British missionary station. If you see a film on the late show called Zulus, that's what the film is centered around, that attack. There wasn't about 96 British. The Africans killed about 200. At the end of the film, there's still 96. Mambosa goes to help Cachuwayo plan the big battle. Because this battle is, one battle is a rehearsal for the other battle at San Helvina. This battle was so perfect. A few years ago, a publisher wanted to commission writers to write books about the greatest battles in history. The first book was written about at San Helvina, the Battle of San Helvina. Now, after the missionary fight, this would lure the British into the camp to face Cachuwayo. And he pulled back and let them walk right into his trap. Mounted on this side, mounted on that side, the sea at the back, and facing it was Cachuwayo on a horse, just looking at them for 3 days. Just looking at them, scrambling. They can't get out, they can't get in. Nobody can get out, nobody can get in. Finally, he gave a signal for the battle to start. Damn near everybody down there got killed, including Jerome Napoleon. Churchill wrote about this in a book called A Roving Commissioner. Churchill wrote exceptionally well in the years when he wasn't a cigar-smoking, senile drunk. He handled the English language. Churchill was a good writer. His other book on the war in the Sudan called The River War, I call it the greatest piece of war reporting since Caesar came home from Gaul. He's a man of great talent. And when he went to Eton, he couldn't learn French, couldn't learn German. They said, I suppose you just concentrate on the English language. Just learn that and we'll be satisfied. He's a rich boy, so you don't tell them too much of what to do. He learned the English language well. So he was a reporter in his early days. So he wrote 2 books on his reporting in Africa. One, The River War, about the battle, the retake to Sudan. One about the war in southern Africa called A Roving Commissioner. And he's the one that mentions the fact that Jerome Napoleon was killed in this battle, and that these Africans had changed the whole structure of the British Empire. Now, Cachuwayo would make a mistake. Same mistake Nkrumah made. He left Africa at the wrong time. Had Nkrumah stayed in Ghana, nobody would have been able to overthrow him. He could have rallied the people. Nobody would have been able to overthrow him. Cachuwayo went to London. Queen Victoria received him. The war wasn't too popular in England. British tailors vied for the honor of making him a British suit. And they did. And there's pictures of him in this British suit. Big, fat, tall Zulu. Cachuwayo. Looking utterly ridiculous in this British suit and a top hat. The main thing is that when he got back home, the British had split his country into 13 different parts, and he was only king of one part. Finally, they would drive him into exile and into suicide. Now the British would breathe easily and said, at last the Zulu has been broken. They had spoken prematurely. They had forgotten that second Zulu Empire. Now under the son of Kechewayo, Lobengula. Lobengula was blocking the path of the British trying to take over mining concessions in this area. An Englishman named Cecil John Rhodes, with consumption of TB, was told, if you stayed in England, you might live